Hi everyone, let's talk about this full moon that's coming up. Full moon in Libra with a lunar eclipse on the 25th of March. And for us in the UK on GMT, that's happening at 7 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so apply your own time zones as appropriate. And we may have been feeling this energy building up to this full moon with lunar eclipse, certainly since the super new moon in Pisces. And I've attributed it to being like an activation portal. That's what it's felt like. Almost like this window of time between that super new moon in Pisces leading up to this full moon in Libra, and understanding what is actually going on, what's being activated within ourselves with that Piscean energy from the super new moon, allowing us to then understand what we need to release at the point of this full moon, because full moons, that lunar energy is great to work with in terms of releasing. So a lot of purging happens around the full moon. And certainly on an energetic level, that can feel quite heavy. We know it's for our highest good if we're needing to release and detach from things that are not serving us, but it can feel heavy because detachment can be heavy. It can be intense. And full moons obviously heighten that energy. And if you're sensitive to lunar energy, it can feel very, very intense. Full moons also illuminate. So there's certain aspects of our lives that maybe we need to really understand, and it gets illuminated around a full moon. So again, it can be a bit of a wake-up call because it's this sudden illumination of the truth in that way. And what we've got going on here on the 25th of March is a full moon in Libra with the lunar eclipse. So the full moon is happening in Libra because, of course, we are in Aries season. So Libra is the opposite sign. And for the full moon, the sun and the moon are directly opposite one another, okay? And they will be at 5 degrees, respectively. 5-5, as a master number, is major change, okay? And this full moon with lunar eclipse could be really activating major change. It might be change that we're already aware of that's needed, certainly if we know what we need to release, but there is an activation of sorts with this eclipse as well, and a heightening and a potency around the illumination. And what I will say with full moon, of course, if we're visualizing a full moon in the night sky, it does light up the night sky, okay? Very vibrant, beautiful, okay? We can see it, it's clear. And then with this eclipse, there's almost this feeling of, okay, we're not going to see it for a period of time, okay? And that's for those of you in the world that are going to be able to see the full moon lunar eclipse, because for us in the UK, it's happening at 7 a.m. So we're not going to necessarily see this, okay? But the energy will still be there. Let's rewind. So there will be an aspect of this where, okay, we see the moon, the eclipse happens, so it goes into that hidden mode, and then there is illumination again. So it's kind of, we see it, now we don't, now we see it. So almost like a heavy introspection. And that might sound strange. That's just how I'm sort of articulating what I'm feeling from it. But not only that, there could have been a lot of hidden stuff that is going to be illuminated at the time of this full moon and the lunar eclipse with that energy, okay? That's what I'm feeling from it. Now, I mentioned we're in Aries season. Of course, we've started off the new astrological year and we are in cardinal fire energy. We've moved from mutable water energy of Pisces, closing out that astrological year, into a new cycle, cardinal fire energy. Cardinal is all about getting things started, okay, being the one that starts things off. And the fire energy is all about taking action. Aries represents the self. It's very much about sovereignty and that warrior spirit, but acting from a place of the self because it rules the first house in astrology. So it starts with the self. So this is about getting things started in Aries season at the start of this new astrological year in terms of the direction that we want to go towards, what we want, not what other people want for us, what we want, the self, remember, and upholding our sovereignty in order to make the changes and take the action necessary, okay? It's masculine energy as well. Aries is masculine energy, and regardless of gender or how we identify, we've got masculine and feminine essence within us. And we need to have that balance, of course we do. This is very much empowering the masculine within us to take the action, okay? So just to put that out there in terms of the Aries energy. But Libra, where the full moon is happening, is the opposite sign, as I've mentioned. It's also cardinal energy, but it's air energy. So there is a movement to this, because I always think of that air energy, you know, when you're outside and you can feel the air, okay? We can't always, but, you know, it just gives me that sense of the movement with air energy. And certainly in terms of our expression and our communication and our thoughts, okay? So we're getting those thoughts moving, but in alignment with what it is we're trying to achieve, and perhaps giving ourselves that truth talk of, you know, come on, we've got to really take action now. So getting in alignment with that. The sun and the moon are going to be in opposition, of course. So there might be some sort of challenging energy to this, because we're trying to get things done. We want to start things off, but we're needing to address certain things, particularly aspects that need to be released. And this is where the full moon comes into it, of course. And I will pull up the chart and I'll show you the aspects that I've been drawn to. But Libra is all about relationships. So this is about relationships with people, places, and things, because Libra rules the 7th house. So this is definite opposition to the 1st house of Aries, because we've got the house of the self, and then we've got the house of relationships. And it's not just with people. As I've said, it's with places and things, even the relationship we have with ourselves. Okay, that is still a relationship. And that could be what's under illumination. But with everything else that's been going on, obviously as part of our transformation journey and healing journey, we might have had to look at our relationships with people, our relationships with places. You know, have we outgrown a certain place? Have we been doing something for so long, but that relationship with that thing, whether it's a job, a project, a hobby, whatever it might be, is that no longer serving us? Well, this could be illuminated to us in quite a major way. Okay. Let's jump into the chart and I'll show you what I've got. And I've also got the UK's chart as well, just to give you context on the house system. And I've also got some moonology decks, as well as my astro cards as well. So no tarot for today, but just some extra messages at the end from these oracle decks. Okay, let's dive right in and see the chart. Bear with me. Okay. So here we go, folks. All right, the full moon in Libra and lunar eclipse. And as I've mentioned, for us in the UK on GMT, 7 a.m. on the 25th of March. Apply your own time zones as appropriate. And what you can see, as I always tend to do, is I will draw certain aspects on here, okay, relating to what comes up. And you can see a lot more in the middle there, but I've just highlighted some that I was particularly drawn to. Okay, and understand that this is based on my intuitive interpretations of the astrological data, and also anything channeled that comes through to me at the time of doing this reading, okay, for your highest good. So what we've got here is we've got the moon in Libra, as we know. That's the full moon, 5 degrees, 7 minutes, okay? And it's interesting, actually, that for the UK, that's happening at 7 a.m., so we've got another 7 in the mix. Anyone that follows angel numbers, okay, that might be significant, because we'll have 777 technically, and 5. So we have got the moon there in Libra at 5 degrees, opposite the sun in Aries at 5 degrees. Okay. And you can see in the middle here, there's quite a lot of crossing over lines, because there is a lot of opposition. And when I first looked at this chart, the words that came to me were scattered opposition. Okay, so we might be feeling a bit all over the place, because perhaps this full moon is going to illuminate certain things that does make us feel like we don't know which way to go. We don't know what we're doing. Everything's coming up all at once. We've got to try and deal with it. So it could feel quite scattered in that way. So we need to remain as balanced as we can be, okay? That's just what it feels like from seeing that opposition energy between Aries and Libra, and also Pisces and Virgo, okay, that I've mentioned before in previous astrology reports. So if we're aware of that, we can understand and we can allow the energy to work for us by recognizing the traits of the signs, recognizing the houses, of course, wherever that applies collectively, but also as part of your own natal chart. When you look at that, that's going to give a better indication, of course, for your own story, you know, for your own journey. So we have got from the moon, we've got, there is a sextile square, apologies, I find it difficult to pronounce that, which is giving a minor challenge, okay, across to Uranus in Taurus. Now, Uranus rules Aquarius, okay, so is the planet of change, the planet of liberation, and Uranus is in Taurus, so that's all about worth and values. So, of course, we're wanting to make changes and to change our reality, okay, in alignment with worth and values, but we need to feel worthy of those changes, and we need to ensure that we are addressing our reality in line with our values, because as we've evolved, our values might have changed. So we've got to kind of like take stock of that and understand what's going on. Do we need to change anything more? For example, the moon being in Libra, now I've mentioned that that is, of course, cardinal air energy. Libra, as well as representing relationships, which I've mentioned, there is this fairness and balance, harmony and equal give and take to Libra. So, of course, the change that we're wanting to see, we want it to be fair. We want it to be balanced. That's what we want our reality to be. Okay, so the moon being our emotional home is striving to feel balanced. We want to feel like there's reciprocity in situations, certainly in relationships, okay? And we're wanting to feel like there is justice, okay? Because maybe we've been through a hard time and it's like, no, I want to feel like there is harmony now. I want to feel like there's equal give and take in a situation. If I'm investing in this situation, you know, I want to be getting that return. This ties in with Venus as well, by the way, and I will come on to her in a minute, but we want things to be fair. And we're trying to lay a foundation that's fair because, of course, the South Node is in Libra. And part of this has involved clearing and cleansing karma, okay, from past lives or earlier on in this lifetime to ensure that we're making a fair foundation, okay, to operate from, certainly in terms of this new reality that we're wanting to experience. So there may just be a bit of a challenge with that because we know things need to change. We want things to be fair because we want to feel that fairness. But the challenge might be that we've got to really look at, do we feel worthy of that? And is everything that's going on at the moment in alignment with our values? Where are our values potentially misaligned with certain things and in certain relationships? Okay, because that's what's under the spotlight here with the full moon. Okay, and this might be what's being illuminated at this full moon with lunar eclipse. We have got another sextile square, and that's actually going from Juno in Virgo to Mercury in Aries. Okay, so Juno is here in retrograde, and we've got Mercury in Aries. Now, Mercury in Aries is all about speaking up from that place of sovereignty. You know, knowing oneself as a sovereign being and speaking up accordingly. It is that Aries energy, so it could be fiery communication, but ultimately this is about motivational, inspirational empowerment through communication, okay? And the slight challenge here, because it's a sextile square and not a square, okay, could be within our committed partnerships, supportive partnerships, soul contracts, okay? It could simply be saying that when it comes to our commitments, whatever they might be, because Juno represents love and marriage, so I always feel that there is a commitment element here, okay? So it doesn't have to pertain to marriage necessarily, but some kind of commitment that you have with something or someone, Okay, so there may just be a bit of a challenge in terms of speaking up when it comes to a commitment of some kind. That could be within a supportive partnership. It could be within a soul contract, okay, because that's certainly been a theme that's been coming up. There's been a lot of karma to deal with these soul contracts. So there might be an element of needing to speak up in that respect. But it could also be, because we're talking about relationships with people, places, and things, it might be a commitment you have to, for example, a job, okay, where this is under the microscope, this is under the spotlight with this full moon, because maybe that commitment is no longer serving and there is a need to speak up about it with that Mercury in Aries energy. And remember, North Node and Chiron are both in Aries. So this is about, our purpose is moving more into that sovereignty and being the leader of our own life. And it's part of the healing journey that we're on, okay, to empower ourselves to be more sovereign, with Chiron there with the North Node. So having Mercury there, brilliant, because this is about now speaking up for that, okay, and being the leader of our lives, okay. So it's all part of the healing journey, and it's all part of where we're heading as a collective in terms of our sovereignty. And with the sun in Aries as well, that's empowerment and support from a soul essence perspective as well, okay. But that's where, we're wanting to get things going. We're wanting to speak up. The sun energy is there to support that, to drive us forward, to do that with that opposition energy to Libra, which is where the moon is, could just be opposing our emotions because we're wanting things to be fair. But of course we want things to be fair. We need to speak up if we want things to be fair. It might just be challenging our commitments to things or people, challenging our relationships in that way, when we consider speaking up, okay. That might be what's going on. And also that feeling of the worthiness to create change with Uranus in Taurus in the sesqui square to the moon as well, okay. So let's bear that in mind. But in terms of the more harmonious aspects, we've got this sextile from the moon to Pallas in Sagittarius, okay. We've also got a trine from the moon going to Pluto in Aquarius. Beautiful. Because that says to me, with the moon in sextile to Pallas, because we have understood, we've been discovering and learning Sagittarius energy, the love and beauty, Pallas energy within our soul, we understand now what it is we might need to release in order to lay that fair, balanced foundation. So that's come from a lot of inner work, I would say, that's been going on, certainly with what's been going on with Lilith very recently, the shadow work that's been going on, and we've had to really understand that love and beauty that we hold within our soul. Sagittarius is all about the discovery. We've learned something, so that's enabling us to release where we need to release, okay. It could also be that illumination of the love and beauty that we do hold within ourselves, okay. And the moon is helping to illuminate that for us, which is enhancing the learning that we've already experienced on our journey. And with the trine that's going to Pluto, this is absolutely facilitating the profound, if I can get my word out, that's how big it is, the profound transformation that we are wanting to experience in our reality. Because remember, Pluto is now in Aquarius. So you might hear the age of Aquarius being dotted around and how significant this is moving forward as a collective. Because things are not going to be the same, okay? Things aren't the same. We know this. But this is about paving a way forward now. A new way of being, Aquarius, innovative, different ways of connecting with others as well, but certainly how that is profoundly transforming our reality with Pluto in Aquarius, okay? Because he's served his time in Capricorn, and that's been sort of dredging up, certainly when he got to the final degrees of Capricorn, dredging up in Saturn's home, by the way, all of the structures that are not serving us, that just need to go, the rules that are outdated, because we need to set our own rules. Remember, leader of our own lives. And then moving into Aquarius, saying, okay, this is now about a new reality. Things are transforming. So what do you want to experience for your new reality? How do you want to connect with others in a new, innovative way? And so with the moon in Libra, with this focus on relationships, so what needs to profoundly transform when it comes to our relationships with people? What needs to profoundly transform when it comes to our relationships with places? Do we need to move somewhere? Okay. And how is this profound transformation also related to our relationships with anything? Okay. It could be profound transformation in our work life, in a job, in a project, in a hobby, in our thoughts. Okay, so we want to establish the fairness and the balance with Libra. We want the reciprocity. So if we're not feeling that in a situation that we have a relationship with, or if we're not feeling that with a person that we have a relationship with, this is about profound transformation. Pluto is not surface level. This is deep. And this is why it can feel intense, because this full moon could be illuminating something about a relationship, whatever it might be, that is out of balance. A relationship that is not serving us because it is not reciprocal. There is no equal give and take. Okay, it served its purpose, but change is needed, okay, in some way, whatever that might be. And remember, take this if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. If it resonates, you're going to know absolutely what I'm talking about. You're going to already possibly have in mind what relationship does need to transform in a deep way. Remember, Pluto, deep. But for others, okay, this might be about this sudden illumination with the full moon and lunar eclipse. It could be a sudden illumination of something that's been hidden about a relationship with a person, with people, with a place, with things, because I will point that out. This is not just about relationships with people, okay? This could illuminate any relationship that is out of balance, that needs focus, okay? And also that challenge our foundation. So it could be a sudden illumination. And that's why I felt that there was this scattered opposition energy going on, because we're needing to, if we look, and bear with me with this, and of course, I'm a Pisces, so I do kind of go a bit all over the place here, but hopefully I'll tie it all back for you. When we look at the Pisces Virgo opposition and the Aries Libra opposition, okay, because in the middle you can see, as I pointed out before, sorry, that scattered opposition, okay? So that to me felt quite frantic, okay? And I'm an intuitive reader as well, so I pick up on the energy. So this is because of potentially a sudden illumination. It might be because we already know what needs to change in a relationship. So we're like, I know something needs to change, but I don't know quite what to do. Scattered opposition, okay? I could go this way, but it's pulling me back this way, you know, that sort of thing. But the sudden illumination that could be happening from this eclipse as well could take people by surprise. So then it's like, whoa, that was hidden. I didn't know that. And that creates that scattered opposition of, okay, what am I going to do now? So we look at Pisces Virgo. Well, that's the sort of ethereal realms of the 5D versus the 3D reality realms. So we've got to have our intuition, the Pisces energy, in touch with our reality, because those two need to work together. So we're trying to create a new reality for ourselves. And Virgo energy can help us do that by getting things in order, by getting things cleaned up. Okay, let's have a plan in place for this. And Pisces kind of wants to go with the flow. So we need a bit of both. We've got to be mutable, because they're both mutable signs, to flow, but we also need some element of control without being too controlling, because we still need to surrender to certain aspects. Okay, so those two can work together, because we can bring our dreams into reality by applying some of that focus, but also surrendering. Okay, that's how they work together. And Aries and Libra, of course, cardinal. So yes, there is that itch to get things started, to speak up, to be sovereign, to be the leaders of our lives. We need to do that. We need to think about the self. And Libra wants fairness. So let's not butt head get me words out. Honestly, it's not even Mercury retrograde yet. That's coming, by the way, on the 1st of April. But let's not butt heads with this. Let's allow the energy to work together. So we can get things started, cardinal energy. We know where we've got that soul essence support going on in Aries, and the drive to take action and to speak up, and how this is helping our healing journey. But we also need to understand, if things are not fair, Libra, not balanced, reciprocal, Libra energy, then we need to be releasing certain aspects. And part of that involves speaking up as well, even if we're just speaking up to ourselves, okay, to give ourselves that reality check. Okay, so even though it might feel like a scattered opposition, because we're wanting to dream about things, but we're also wanting to be feet on the ground, let's do things. We're wanting to speak up. We're wanting to be the leader of our own life, but we're also trying to be fair as well. Yes, okay, all of that. That's how it can feel a bit scattered. I hope you're still with me on that one. That's just what I would say from that. And I've kind of forgotten, what I started off saying, because that just led me down that path. But I felt like I needed to say it, because we can feel this scattered opposition. It can be quite unnerving, unsettling in a way, energetically, okay, because we don't quite understand what's going on, or how we can apply best foot forward, that sort of thing, because of a sudden illumination of something within a relationship that needs to change. Okay, and I will point out again, it's not just relationships with people. Okay, so if you look at a relationship with a place, you might have been living in a place for years and years and years, and it's fine. It's been comfortable because it's familiar. Okay, but there might be something that's illuminated that makes you realize, actually, this is something that's no longer working for me. It's no longer in alignment with my worth and values, because I've changed and I've transformed, and I want to create a new reality for my life. I want to be doing this. I want to be pursuing this. And therefore, I'm going to have to take a step out of my comfort zone and move if I want anything to change. Because if I don't do that, nothing's going to change. It's going to stay the same. And that's just going to create more resistance within me. So, okay, that's been illuminated to me. Now I need to understand what to do, to move forward. So it could be those kind of illuminations coming up. It could be about, you've always talked to yourself negatively about yourself, and that relationship with yourself has come under the spotlight of the full moon with lunar eclipse. Why am I talking to myself in this way? I need to understand I'm a sovereign being, that I am worthy of divine opportunities and blessings, and so on. And then change is needed. So everything is pointing towards change. And remember, I said at the beginning that the sun and the moon are both at 5 degrees. So 5-5 is a powerful master number that relates to profound change. And we've got Pluto in the mix here in trine to the moon. So this deep, profound transformation in terms of the new reality that we're wanting to pave out for ourselves is supported by the moon, and vice versa. So there's positives to this, but it can just feel intense because it's a full moon with a lunar eclipse. Okay, and it can be the heaviness of that. But notice that how I've drawn this, and I've just noticed this now, that it's almost like the arrow that's pointing to the moon. Okay, and you can see all the other aspects there, but It's like an arrow pointing to the moon. So everything is pointing to this full moon, okay, in terms of what will be revealed. If anything needs to be revealed, it will be revealed, okay, because things happen for a reason and it's all divinely timed. So this is about, when we think of that Sagittarian energy of the quest, and Sagittarius represented by the archer, who is, of course, shooting that bow and arrow in the direction of what they want because of the knowledge that they've built up on their quest. Okay, they're in pursuit of something. So this is about us being in pursuit of our reality, okay, and understanding that things are changing and we need to kind of roll with these changes because we've evolved and we need to really step into our sovereignty. So anything that's not in alignment with that, and also anything that's not in alignment with the self, because it all comes back to the self, if it's not fair, if it's not balanced, then that is, you know, what's being pointed at here. The fairness, the reciprocity of Libra within relationships. Okay, that's what's under the spotlight here. Now, interestingly, with Mars and Venus, so they're both in Pisces now because Mars, at the time of the full moon, will be in Pisces. So we've got the masculine and feminine energy reunited in Pisces, okay? But notice that there's somebody in between, Saturn. So if you've watched my astrology reports before, you know what I have to say about Saturn. Saturn is a major dominant planet and doesn't mess around at all. He is here to serve up lessons for us, okay? And there's certainly been this period of time, whilst he's been in Pisces particularly, where he's been serving up karmic returns. So these can be blessings, okay? Because Saturn will reward us for passing the test. Or it might be that we get handed further lessons. And if we've not learned a lesson and closed something out, as in a cycle, then we'll receive another lesson, and it's the same lesson, but it's a different situation. Same lesson, okay? Because he's wanting us to learn that lesson. So it will come to us in a different way, but it's the same lesson. And when we understand that and we've gained the wisdom from it, we've learned the lesson, okay? And Saturn is all about alignment with our spiritual truth in Pisces. And he is very dominant masculine energy in a feminine sign. So he's actually bringing some structure and some order to Pisces. And Pisces is softening the Saturnian energy in a way. But they're both working together because, of course, from that soul perspective, our spiritual truth, we need to get in alignment with that. Have we been operating from a place of spiritual alignment? Or have we been operating from a place of ego, and unhealthy ego at that? So he is really quizzing us here about this, okay? And he's been in Pisces for just over a year now, because it was the 7th of March last year when he transited into Pisces. And I always remember, and I'm being taken back to this, thank you, Spirit, that the full moon in Virgo that happened on the same day that Saturn ingressed in, which was the 7th of March, 2023, the full moon happened 55 minutes before Saturn moved into Pisces. So it was a full moon in Virgo, because again, opposite signs. 55 minutes. What was I just saying about the sun and the moon? 55. Okay, so there might even be something coming full circle here from that moment. Take that if it resonates. Okay. And it's somewhat of profound change because we got the 5 5s in the mix. But I did an astrology report at that time, and how I was visualizing it in my own Piscean way was that the full moon happened in Virgo. So again, illumination. And think of it as an interview room, like an interrogation room. Okay, so the full moon kind of turned on the light, got us ready in the interrogation room, and said, okay, we've got 55 minutes to just prepare ourselves now. Let's illuminate some stuff here, full moon energy, because Saturn is going to be here in 55 minutes. And then 55 minutes later, Saturn entered Pisces, opens the door of the interrogation room, and is like, hi, I'm in Pisces now. Let's sort this out. Have you learnt the lessons for the past 3 years that I've been in Aquarius? No? Okay. We're going to go around again, and let's see if you learn it this time, okay? Because we've got to get you in line with your spiritual truth. So Saturn is a great teacher, okay? Because he will get us into alignment, whether we like it or not, because he's not messing around. He's very regimented, okay? He puts structures in place, rules in place, and also, quite importantly, boundaries. So if we've been operating from a place where we've not had boundaries in place for our own sake, then he might be forcing us to actually put boundaries in place by giving us lessons that test our boundaries. Okay, so you see where I'm coming from here? And this is all to get us in alignment with our spiritual truth. So it's all for our highest good, but it can feel heavy because it's Saturn. And Saturn is devoid of emotion. And what's Pisces? Very sensitive. So, you know, there we have another contrast. So it can feel heavy, but he's trying to get us to learn the lessons. And how do we learn these lessons? By going through these experiences. Okay, I went off on a bit of a Saturn tangent there. But he is in between Mars and Venus. He's in between the masculine and feminine. Okay, so there's kind of like third party energy going on here. But what I felt from this is any karma that's been coming up between the masculine and feminine is needing to be dealt with and addressed. Okay. And also, I mentioned about boundaries, potentially teaching us to have those boundaries in place to restore the balance between the masculine and feminine. Okay. So he's almost in between, but bringing them together in that way. Okay, that's how I'm seeing it anyway. But through the lessons, through the tests, and so on. Okay, that's why we need to embrace them. But it can feel heavy. It can feel heavy. There is a trine though from Saturn across to Pars Fortuna, the pot of fortune, and that's also going from Venus as well. Okay, I've not drawn the line, but you can probably see it there with the triangle. So you know, this is about the fortune, quote unquote fortune, which is not solely money. Okay, the fortune that can come from a situation where we've got here Venus and Saturn in the mix. So I have to refer once again to our investments when it comes to our resources. So where are we investing our time, our energy, our money, our love, our attention? And if we're actually investing wisely, okay, that's going to make Saturn happy as well, but it's also going to bring the fortune, and the fortune is going to be that balance, okay, between the masculine and feminine potentially, and also the learning and completion of the Saturnian lessons as well, because that trine is going to both Venus and Saturn from Pars Fortuna. Okay, that's what I would say to that. All right, but it's really about trusting that ethereal essence within, acting from a place of intuition, and that's from the feminine and the masculine now, because Mars is of course also in Pisces. So we need to be driven from a place of the soul speaking to us from our intuition, also upholding our sovereignty by doing that, but from that sovereign place within our intuition, in order for us to create with the feminine energy and also take action with the masculine energy. Okay, we need to be inspired and driven from our intuition, and that's going to empower us more in our sovereignty as well. Okay, lovely. But certainly relationships are under the spotlight. Relationships with people, places, and things. Okay, 7th house in astrology is ruled by Libra. This full moon is happening in Libra. with a lunar eclipse. So this could be major activation, potent, heightened energy going on, and it could involve sudden illumination, okay, around any relationships that do need to change, transform, because they're out of balance, or to restore balance, however you want to look at it, okay? Right, let's stop sharing that one and let's pull up the chart that shows you the UK's chart as well, just to give some context to the house system. Okay, so here we have it. Inner wheel is the UK's natal chart. Outer wheel is the full moon with lunar eclipse that I've just shown you. And I've drawn the aspects on as well. But I've also put a circle around the 7th house, okay? Because that is the Libra house. Now, it's not the Libra house here, and this is why natal charts are fascinating and why it's important, if you're interested in this, to look at your natal chart against the events, because the house system is going to be different, okay? But when we look at an astrological wheel, the 1st house is Aries, and it goes all the way around till we get to the 12th house of Pisces. Those are the house rulers, okay? So the 7th house ruler is Libra, but you'll see in this chart, we've got Aquarius energy, okay? And that's how it's unique, all right? When we're looking at transits in a synastry way, okay? The 2 charts together. So let's look at the moon, first of all, that's in the 4th house for the UK. So this is about our foundations. And also, I have to say, family. So 4th house can be foundations and family. It's the home, okay? So whatever home is for you as a foundation or within your home family life, okay? Because the 4th house ruler is Cancer, okay? So the moon will be in the 4th house at the time of the full moon with lunar eclipse for the UK. And we've already said, like, because the South Node is there, which is also about, you know, laying that fair foundation. Well, we're really wanting to lay a fair foundation here. But this is where this illumination could be coming up within family relationships, potentially, okay? But that's only going to be for some people. It's not going to be for all people. So it's just understanding what that means for you. And it might even be soul family. But it doesn't have to just be people, as I've said. So because it's in the home house, if you like, then this is about a place, potentially, okay? So where is home for you? Is that place no longer in alignment, in a balanced, harmonious way for you? It's understanding all of that, or anything that relates to foundations, okay? Your relationship with your own foundation of your own life, okay, is another example. So it's understanding that with the Libra energy, how relationships are being illuminated in that way, okay, with this full moon and lunar eclipse. Now, the sextile that's going to Pallas is in the 5th house of love, okay? So we need to come from a place of unconditional love, and we know Pallas represents love and beauty. So I've already mentioned about discovering Sagittarius energy, the love and beauty that we hold within our souls to empower us to make these changes, because we've got that love and respect for ourselves, okay? And even more so within the heart chakra energy of the 5th house, coming from a place of love in order to make those adjustments, because we've got that love and respect for ourselves in that way. And before I come on to the trine, let's go to the sesqui squares. Okay, so we know we've got Juno in sesqui square to Mercury, and that's going from the 3rd house of expression and communication to the 10th house of inner authority and work. Okay, so it could very well relate to a commitment in terms of a job. Okay, it could do for some, where it's a bit challenging because you're needing to speak up in a situation to make these changes, or because you've understood that this commitment, this relationship with the job is not working. But the challenging aspect is speaking up about it, or there could simply be something to do with a commitment of any kind, and that is challenging the expression in terms of the sovereignty when it comes to inner authority. So it could be that as well. Okay. And then the other one, of course, is with the moon and Uranus is in the 11th house of connections with others. So there is an emphasis here about challenging aspects when it comes to looking at our connections with others that do need to change in accordance with our worth and values. Uranus in Taurus. Okay. And it could be sudden illumination, because Uranus can also be sudden change as well. So it's definitely highlighting here connections with others that could challenge our foundations or could challenge that family home life situation, which doesn't have to be literally the family, but it could be home for you within your own soul, you know, so connections with others that challenge that because it's out of alignment with your own worth and values, that sort of thing. Okay. And then we've got that trine, as I mentioned, across to the 7th house. So that's profound because that's where Pluto is. So again, this absolute resonance with profound change in our relationships with people, places, and things. Okay. And how Pluto can help us do that by focusing on where we're wanting to deeply transform these situations for our reality. Okay. For that new innovative way of being. And also how our connections with others might need to change, which ties in with what's going on with the 11th house with Uranus and Taurus. So get our worth and values in alignment. How do these connections with others need to change? That sort of thing. And how that's working in harmony with the moon. So it's enabling us to release what we need to, but the moon is also helping illuminate what needs to profoundly transform in those relationships in order for us to really get into that Pluto Aquarius mode of this is a new reality. We've got to mix things up. It's got to be innovative. It's got to be different. This is our new reality. Okay. And what relationships do need to change? What's under the spotlight here? Okay. All for our highest good. Okay. And then obviously I mentioned before about Mars and Venus and Saturn in the middle. Well, Mars is kind of like the outlier here in the 8th house. Okay. But still Pisces energy. And then we've got Venus and Saturn obviously in the 9th house. So I mentioned about investments just now, didn't I? Where we're investing our time, our energy, our money, our resources, and the lessons that Saturn is serving up. So in the 9th house, we're discovering this, we're learning this. We're learning the lessons about where we have been investing or over-investing. And Saturn could be helping us put those boundaries in place where we have been over-giving, okay? Because it's not in alignment with our spiritual truth anymore. It's not fair, it's not reciprocal, that sort of thing. We've been learning it. And Mars is there kind of, you know, supporting that because he's in Pisces. So he wants to take action based on our spiritual truth, based on what our intuition is guiding us to do. And it's coming from an empowered place because of the 8th house. Okay. It could also be from a place of passion because the 8th house can be power and passion. So we feel more empowered in our masculine, which is great because that's going to support the Aries energy. And if you notice in this chart, the Aries energy is in the 10th house. So if we're feeling empowered in our masculine because we're listening to our intuition and we're driving forward to take action from a place of power and from a place of passion, you know, areas of our life that we are passionate about, so we're taking action, that is what is going to enable us to speak up more from a sovereign place, Mercury in Aries. It's going to help us move in the direction of what we want and our sovereignty. Okay, and that's healing for us, North Node and Chiron, both in Aries. And it's also going to support the soul as well, because the sun is now in Aries. So from a sovereign soul perspective and a 10th house inner authority perspective, very empowering to be doing all of this. Okay, and it could also pertain to work for some of you because the 10th house can symbolize that. So perhaps there could be a promotion because of the leadership aspect that I've mentioned with Aries. So you could be being more empowered to drive yourself forward, to take action towards actually seeking a promotion or seeking development that's going to put you in that more authoritative position. Okay, and really needing to find that expression to speak up, to be that sovereign leader. That could also be here. And therefore the challenge with the 4th house could be, okay, how might that challenge my foundations? Is that going to then work in my home life? If I'm kind of really aiming for the skies here in my work situation, is my home situation going to suffer from that? Is it fair? Is it reciprocal? And that's where we look at the Libra energy again. Okay, so it all ties into that. But again, take it as it resonates. Okay, if it does at all. Let's pull some cards. Okay, and the sun is absolutely shining through. Lovely here. Very warm on my back. So we've got the backing of the sun here. Right, first of all, I'm going to just take some cards from Starco's Astro. Let's see what additional messages we might have for the full moon in Libra with lunar eclipse. What does the collective need to know for their highest good, of course, from the pure white light and power of unconditional love? What do we have for the collective, please? Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Do you know what? I knew there was another one in there, and that's a big one. One I've just been harping on about. Okay. Yes. I love it when it synchronizes. I really do. Now, this one did come out in the reverse, and I don't really take oracles as reversals unless there's anything intuitive that I'm guided towards. We have got Sagittarius energy here. Well, that's shooting that arrow, isn't it, that I was just mentioning? So there is a need for expansion, and that can be challenging. You know, if we're really needing to expand ourselves, we've outgrown an area. Well, that's a relationship with a place, isn't it? So we're needing to understand if that's coming up for us as well, this full moon. Then we've got Saturn, that massive force I was just talking about. So he's reminding us that he's there. Okay, this is all a test for us as well. So if we're being illuminated these things and then we don't take action, well, Saturn's just going to continue to serve up lessons so that we understand that things are not in alignment for us. You know, this is about listening to what is coming up for us in that way, and our intuition will know if we're listening to our intuition, of course, if we're accessing that power within us. But you know, we're needing to expand our lives and to really go after what we want. Remember, this is fire energy as well, but we also need to apply some kind of structure to our lives and to be regimented about how we're going to get there as well, whilst learning the Saturnian lessons. On the bottom, beautiful, we have conjunction, alliance. So allowing the energy to work together in harmony, and certainly how we can form those alliances in our own lives. Okay, that's hidden. So in the hidden energy, and that could be what's being illuminated. So where are those alliances? That's also a relationship, isn't it? So where are those alliances in your own lives that you can really draw on? And those alliances that do work for you and are balanced, are fair, are reciprocal in that way. That's under the spotlight too. Okay. Let's go to the Moonology deck. Okay, this is the OG deck. What else do we have, please, for the full moon in Libra with lunar eclipse? Thank you. And I've got an itchy nose. Okay. It's time to take action. Now, admittedly, this is new moon energy, but it's Aries energy, and we're in Aries season. Now, what is coming through is that potentially between this full moon and the next new moon that we have will be in Aries. Okay, so this could be another activation portal, activation window to take the action. So based on whatever comes up, what's illuminated, or that which you're already aware of, okay, then that could be the period of time to then take action. Okay, up until that next new moon in Aries, because that's going to be about manifestation in accordance with the self and the sovereignty. So understanding what it is you need to take action on. Very powerful. Okay, anything else? Two came out at once. I like this. Sorry, I've got a very itchy nose. And that could mean something. Okay, don't let your past hold you back. South Node energy. And then we've got luck is on your side, which is Sagittarius energy. And that's also new moon energy. So that's where the expansion could be happening, okay, in between this full moon and that new moon in Aries, which, by the way, I believe will come with a solar eclipse. So we're in an eclipse portal as well, okay? But it's very important to not let your past hold you back, particularly fears from the past. We've been trying to deal with these. We've been trying to kind of process, accept, acknowledge what's been coming up. Understand that luck is on your side. And that is all, again, about shooting that arrow, isn't it? Towards that expansion. It's Jupiter energy, okay? So the luck is there, the fortune is there. If we can release the fears of the past, moving forward in this new direction, based on the action that we know we need to take for our highest good, Saturn is there to support us in that respect. But so is Jupiter, okay? And that can bring the luck that we're really wanting. So on the bottom, we have got a personal issue reaches resolution, and that's full moon in Cancer, okay? So we've got that nurturing energy that's kind of hidden, and we might need to just unlock that. But also, if a personal issue reaches resolution, that could be saying that what's illuminated is coming up for your highest good, to understand if there's been any unresolved issues. It could then lead to resolving those issues, because it's like an illumination of, okay, that needs to change to resolve that issue, okay? But in a nurturing way with the Cancerian energy, okay? Queen of the Moon. Let's see what we have from the Queen of the Moon. Queen of the Moon. For the full moon, thank you. Okay. So those are quite synchronized color-wise, aren't they? And it makes me think of the throat chakra because of the blue. So that's about speaking up, isn't it? But yes, the darkness and acceptance. So when I see this, this is about lighting that path forward. Now notice we've got a bit of an eclipse situation going on here. So the illumination that could come from this could be the hidden path. And that sounds deep, doesn't it? Because I mentioned about something being shown, then hidden, then shown. So this could be about something hidden that then illuminates your path. So once you have that illumination of what's been hidden, it's going to light your path forward. Okay. And yeah, got confirmation then. And then acceptance. Okay. So accepting the power that you hold within you to create change. And also, it's taking me back to that conjunction alliance card. So those around you that can help and support you to then move forward. So that's about the harmonious relationships. So when we talk about the full moon in Libra with lunar eclipse, okay, something hidden could then light the path forward because it's going to be illuminated to you. And it could relate to a relationship that is an alliance that is going to help you on your path. Okay. On the bottom, we have faith. Because I gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. Yes. So let's have faith in terms of what we want to birth. Okay. This has got Empress vibes all over it. We can birth the reality that we desire, but we need to have the faith in ourselves to do this. And that's where, you know, the moon is sextile to Pallas, understanding the love and beauty, showing ourselves the love and beauty, you know, that we've discovered about ourselves. And I believe spirit is with me, because this is why I've got an itchy nose. Okay. So this is absolutely a supportive message here about needing to have the faith. Having the faith in terms of what is being illuminated to us, okay, to not go into that scattered opposition energy, but to have the faith that the trust is there, that we can then birth something new. But I do feel that certainly with these two, this is about, yes, something that's hidden, okay, about a relationship potentially, okay, is going to get illuminated. It's going to help move you forward on the path. And it's very powerful, but that is that eclipse energy anyway. Okay, it's going to activate something. It's going to activate something, between two people, potentially. It could activate something between you and a place, okay? Just because there's two different arms here, you know, it symbolizes to me intuitively, yes, okay, it could be two people. This could be the alliance, but it could also be a relationship with a place, and some activation happens. You might find that you need to move to a certain place. You receive that information, you go to that place, and some kind of energetic activation happens. Okay, so take it as it resonates, please. But it could be a person. It could be that somebody is going to help you navigate your path forward, and that's what's going to get revealed to you with this full moon lunar eclipse. Okay, have the faith in what is being revealed, because notice she's also got her eyes closed, so she's content with the sort of surrendering aspects to that. Okay, I'm receiving that. I feel there's one more in this deck. Okay, let's see. Let's see. What else do we have from the Queen of the Moon? Yeah. Thank you, Spirit. First of all, on the bottom, we've got discernment. Okay, so we need to use our discernment always. That's where the intuition comes in. Okay, and I can say all of this to you. It might not resonate at all, and that is absolutely fine. You must use your discernment. This is about a connection with your intuition, okay? It's collective energy. It's not going to resonate for everybody, okay? Use your discernment. And underneath that, resilience, okay? This is about getting to the end of a cycle and needing to release some energetic burdens as well, okay? But ones that pertain to relationships that are out of balance. Relationships with people, places, things. Okay. The card that came out, the card that I felt was in that deck that needed to be seen, well, it's this one. Expect the unexpected, folks. This could be unexpected revelations, okay? And this could actually be globally, but certainly within our own lives, in terms of what's coming up, what's potentially being illuminated, it could be unexpected. And I'll go back to this, hidden. That's the same color as well, okay? So it's synchronized with that. And do you know what I'm feeling as well intuitively from this? If you look at this with the eclipse going on, and you look at that, imagine that they're on the other side of that eclipse. So you can't see them. Can't see them. It's quite alien-like, actually, isn't it? But I'm not even going to go there. And that's how my Pisces brain works. But, you know, there is something about that, something otherworldly, okay? Take that as it resonates. But imagine they're on the other side of that, so you can't see it, but then something's going to get illuminated, okay? And because there's two people on there, again, I'm drawn to this. So this is about harmony, which is on the other side of this, that's hidden, that's going to be revealed. And that's that harmony of that alliance that can work together to navigate the path forward for each other as a supportive partnership, if you like, as an alliance, as a conjunction in that way, okay? And there's birds on there, so it could be that you're receiving the wisdom of that, okay, via your intuition, via communication, whatever it might be. But it's almost like the unexpected. So something is unexpected that's going to be revealed to you, okay? Wow. Amazing. So I'm sending you love and blessings for this full moon in Libra with lunar eclipse, and that sun is very bright now. It's very, very warm on my back. But yeah, this is about understanding that we are the co-creators of our reality. Okay, we are the co-creators of our reality, and we've got the assignment already from Pluto about, you know, let's profoundly transform our reality, because our reality is changing anyway. So we need to kind of be on board with it, and we need to be in alignment with it, but based on our own spiritual truth. Okay, so he's working with Saturn hand in hand in that way. So do we need to actually put rules in place for our own lives? Do we need to put boundaries in place? And where do we need to detach from? So what's coming up in this full moon that's going to show us those relationships with people, places, things that are not balanced, okay, that are out of balance, that are not fair, or there's no justice, there's no reciprocity, there's no harmony. Where might that be happening? And how is that sort of challenging us to make the changes? Again, use discernment with all of this, okay, because it might not be resonating at all. But this is about understanding those relationships, however minor or major, how they need to transform to then be in alignment with our worth, our values, our spiritual truth. Okay, where are we over investing in something? Because that's a relationship as well. Okay, and that might be where boundaries are needed. So it's looking at all of this. It's a bigger picture. Okay, and that Sagittarius is also about the bigger picture, and we've seen double Sagittarius energy coming through here, haven't we? So, you know, expansion and luck could come from all of this if we've understood the kind of mission from Saturn, if we've understood what is being illuminated to us with the full moon, so that we can kind of move forward. But the scattered opposition that I was seeing in the astrology, just that's what I was feeling intuitively, is about, okay, there's information overload almost, and it's like, okay, right, that's been illuminated, whoa, and again, unexpected, what do I do with that information? Okay, so it's understanding that if the energy feels a bit frantic, take a moment, meditate, breathe, introspect, okay, and not come from a place of fear. It's more about remaining in the heart chakra and the intuition, okay, to feel into situations, but again, using the discernment, okay, always, and having the faith, okay, and trusting that you can birth the reality that you desire. You just might be being shown those relationships that are not in harmony with that reality that you're wanting, and those relationships that maybe you do need to bring in to your reality, okay? So again, take it as it resonates, all right? I will be back, of course, for further reports, but in the meantime, yes, I'm sending you love and blessings for this full moon. Happy full moon lunar eclipse, and just, you know, take care of yourself with the energy. I'm a great advocate of a salt bath, especially if you're sensitive to lunar energy, so Epsom salts. And yeah, just kind of to cleanse your aura, you know, in terms of the energy, if you do find that the lunar energy can be quite overwhelming. But just really understand, you know, that relationships are under the spotlight here. Relationships are under the spotlight for this full moon lunar eclipse, and it will be a spotlight, but it will be a big one. Okay, sending you love and blessings. Take care until the next time. Bye for now.